Hi everyone, welcome to this recovery mobility flow with me, Sinead Murphy of Go with the Flow Coaching. So what we'll need for today's class, you're just going to need maybe a pillow just to rest your head on, it's a little bit more comfortable, and then maybe if you have a strap or a resistance band or physio band, just for the final hamstring stretch that we'll be doing for today's class. What I'm going to get you to do to start, make sure you're warm, make sure you're comfortable. We're just going to lie down onto the ground, nice and controlled. I just want you to make sure you're comfortable. So if that's having the legs out straight, fantastic. If that's having the knees bent, whatever you need to do, just to feel nice and supported, nice and relaxed. You can have your hands out to the side, or you can have your hands resting on your stomach. Again, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Now we're just going to start by taking a few slow, deep breaths. You're just going to breathe in, fill the belly, and then just release that through the mouth. Same again. Breathe in. Release through the mouth. Last time, breathe in. And then just starting to breathe just in your own time. Nice and controlled. Just becoming aware of where the breath is going. Just seeing if you can extend that inhale maybe by a second or two. And then extending the exhale by a second or two. Just taking one or two more breaths here. Just connecting with how you're feeling and how your breath is feeling. I'm just going to get you guys to place your hands on your hip bones and bend the knees, face the feet flat on the ground if you're not already in this position. What we're going to do are those glute bridge segmentations. We're going to rock the tailbone forward, get that arch in the lower back, and then just very gently rock backwards. We're just going to start with pelvic tilts to begin. Breathing in, breathing out. Just gently pushing that lower back into the ground. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. This feels enough for you. You can stick with this. If you want to go a little bit stronger, a little bit more active, we're just going to start adding in that glute bridge now, segmenting our spine, making sure our hamstrings and glutes are engaged. So we just lift and think about peeling that spine up off the mat. And then we're just going to slowly lower it back down, inch by inch, bit by bit. Lovely, well done. Breathing in then as you rock the tailbone forward. Breathing out as you start that movement by rocking the pelvis back. And then just breathing normally as you just peel that spine up off the ground. Maybe hold for a second or two at the top. And then slowly come back down. And again, last time doing these. Heel up. And then slow and controlled, trying to keep those hips even. Spine rounding. We're just lowering down onto the mat. You can just stay here again. Breathe into the ribcage. See if anything feels different, or does it feel the same? And what we're going to do is we're going to straighten our left leg. We're going to hug that right knee in towards the chest. And just slowly breathe. What we're going to do, we're just going to drop that right knee out to the side. You can place your left hand on your left hip just to anchor yourself down. And if it's comfortable, you can swap hands, taking that right shin with your left hand and just bring that leg across. We're trying to keep the hip down here, so we're not letting that right hip roll. We're just getting a bit of a stretch into the right glute. I'm going to release that, and then we're changing over onto the leg. So straighten that right leg, hook the left leg in towards the chest. On the next exhale, we're just going to let that left leg drop out to the left hand side. So you can support it with your left arm by bending that left elbow, just resting on the ground. And the right hand is just coming to that right hip bone just to anchor that down. And try and think about the hips opening up. What we'll do then is we're just going to take the right hand to the left shin and just gently hug that left knee across the torso again, and keeping this left hip down on the ground. And then we're just going to slowly roll out of that, placing that foot down on the ground. Bring both feet onto the ground. We're going to bend the knees, roll over onto our side, and just gently push up. We're going to come into a quadruped position. We're just going to do some very gentle core rocks from a child's pose into a mini plank. So I'm just relaxing that tailbone down to the ground, letting it melt. Taking a deep breath in, feel the pelvic floor relax and expand, switching off those muscles, and then breathing out, just a very gentle lift up through the pelvic floor, engaging the glutes. Again, notice how my spine isn't arched. I'm slightly tucking that tailbone under. I'm going to breathe in. And then breathe out. We're going to breathe in. Relax the pelvic floor. And then breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm going to breathe in. I'm just going to sink those hips back and down, getting a nice big stretch here. So just totally relaxing. Letting that head drop down to the mat. Just feeling my hips relax. Lower back relax. And pelvic floor relax. I'm going to get you to slowly come out of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to step our left foot forward in between those two hands. We're going to curl the back toe under. Take a breath in and then breathe out. Just straightening those legs, trying to drop that right heel down towards the ground. Get a stretch through the left hamstring. Doesn't matter if you're here, just whatever that is for you. If you have two blocks, you can also place them there. And we're going to come back down. Breathing out, push up. Let that head drop down. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathe in. We're just going to change over onto the other leg. So step that right leg forward. Once we've stepped the left foot back, curling the left toe back up and under at the back. And then just straightening the right leg at the front. And then coming forward. Bend that knee again, down onto the mat. Breathe out. Let the head drop down. Breathe in. And then breathe out. So I'm going to get you to step that right leg back. We're going to bring the knees out to the outside of the mat, the feet out to the outside of the mat. We're going to walk those hands back. We're just going to push back into a deep squat. So again, you can just let the head drop down here for a second or two. Just get a stretch through the lower back and spine. Kind of hold on to the outside of the mat there just for a little bit of counterbalance. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to bring the hands towards our chest. Just bringing them up to the inside of the knees. Just pushing those elbows against the knees. And just trying to keep the chest up. Again, if you need to hold on to a chair, a little bit of counterbalance, or if you prefer, you can always come into a seated butterfly pose as well. It's perfectly okay. Again, I'm just rocking very gently side to side here because that feels good. It kind of feels what my hips are asking me to do. That might not feel good for you, so don't worry if it doesn't. You can bring the hands out to the side as well if it's a little bit more comfortable. Just counterbalance through that as well. And then I'm just going to push the hips up. I'm just going to walk the hands forward into a down dog. And just get a nice stretch so I can bring those feet back in towards the center of the mat. And just very gently pedal the feet. That was the most active part of the whole flow, including this. So once we finish this, we're just taking a rest. Lots of lovely static stretches. down dog, it is a recovery pose. It's a lovely way just to stretch out the back of the legs. And I'm just going to bend the knees. We come back into a quadruped position. I'm going to reach the right hand up and rotate. So I'm reaching that hand up towards the ceiling and then in underneath very slightly. I'm going to reach up again and then in underneath. And then last time, let's reach up. And then let's bring that right shoulder down towards the mat, looking out towards the left hand side. And I can reach that left hand up overhead if that's comfortable for me. I'm going to bring that left elbow down to the mat, walk it back in towards the front of my face, push that through that left hand, coming back up into that quadruped position. And we'll do the same on the other side. Left hand reaches up and then in underneath. Left hand reaches up and then in underneath. Left hand reaches up. And then exhale, reach in underneath, get that left shoulder down towards the mat and reach that right hand up overhead if that's comfortable for us. And just relax into this pose. Just going to bring that right elbow down and then just slide that or walk that hand down in front of my face. I'm going to push up through that right hand, bring the left hand down. And then what I'm going to do is just very slightly walk those hands forward, sink the hips back and down, and I'm going to go into a knees down wave on those. So I'm just going to round through that spine, lift up through the abdomen as I pull myself forward. I'm going to drop my hips down, lower myself down onto the mat. And then what we're going to do is a style of breathing called crocodile breathing. So you're going to have one hand in a fist on the ground like this, the other hand in a fist stacked on top. And you're just going to rest your forehead on those two fists. And what this is supposed to do is just relax the neck muscles, which for some of us we can use to breathe. And it puts us in a position where our belly is pushing into the ground. So what it does is it helps give us speed back. When we breathe in, to feel that stomach expand. This is uncomfortable for you, maybe if it's putting too much pressure on your lower back or maybe on your neck. You can just come into a side lying variation or lying on your back like we did at the start. Taking one more breath in, feel that stomach expand. into the mat, ribs out to the side. Breathing out, the hands are going to come down. Breathe in. Breathe out, push up. Breathe in, lower back down. Let's bring the left hand slightly back, right hand slightly forward. Breathe out. Let's look up and over that left ankle. Breathing in. Swap the hands, breathe out, push back, look over towards that right ankle. And then lowering back down. You can just let the head look out towards the left. And just relax the arms. And take a deep breath in. We're going to breathe out, just push those hands into the mat. We're going to just push yourselves back into a wide-legged child's pose. You want to have a pillow in underneath the hips. You're more than welcome to. If you want to go for a little bit of a deeper lat stretch, you can walk the hands out towards the side and actually slightly come forward into a tabletop or a quadruped position and then sink the hips back. Again, to go deeper, to rotate that palm up. So that might not be comfortable for all of us, but for some of us, it will just go a little bit deeper into that lat if we're looking to stretch them out. And slowly come out of that. We're going to walk the hands over towards the other side, palm facing up towards the ceiling, and we're going to sink the hip back. On the next exhale, we're just going to walk those hands back in towards the center. We're going to slowly put ourselves up into a seated position. And then what we're going to do, just for our last two stretches, the first one is going to be a seated butterfly pose. If you want to have that pillow in underneath your hips, you're more than welcome to. Just sitting upright onto our sit bones, the soles of the feet are going to come together. We're going to drop those knees out towards the side. Take that breath in and just pull yourself slightly forward. Try to keep the back as flat as you can, chest proud. Breathing in and then breathe out. Let that head relax down. You can walk the hands out in front if you want, or maybe just push from behind. Letting the jaw relax here. We're going to slowly walk those hands back. And then you can come to lie down onto the mat. And we're just going to take that band or that strap. And again, if you want to place the pillow behind your head, by all means do. I'm just going to move very slightly so I have enough space to do the stretch. But we're going to loop one end of the band or the strap around our foot. Just make sure it's in the middle of the foot so it's nice and secure. If it's comfortable to straighten that other leg, by all means do. Nice relaxing. I'm going to point that heel up towards the ceiling. I'm just going to hang it here. Just breathe in and breathe out. So again, this isn't an active stretch. I'm not trying to use my hip flexor to drive that heel up towards the ceiling. I can kind of be soft in this, and I'm just gently pulling the hamstring into that stretch just with the weight of my arms. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take the band in my right hand, and I'm going to just try and drop that leg out across the torso. Again, not letting that left hip come up off the mat, and what that does is it gets a nice deep stretch all on the outside of that hamstring and out as well, especially for me on my calves, which is very nice. So feel it glutes, outside the quad, maybe outside the hamstrings, outside of the calf, wherever we're tight. If we've got space, we're going to try and swap the hands over and bring that leg out to the side. If you're like me and you're a bit stuck for space, just going to hold the knee, so like we did at the start, and just let that leg drop out to the side. Placing that right hand on top of the right hip, just to anchor it down and make sure you're just letting gravity open that left leg out to the side. We're going to release that, and we're just going to change over onto the other side. So placing the other foot inside. Again, let's straighten that left leg down to the ground. And then just bringing that right leg into that hamstring stretch. We're going to bring that leg out across the torso now. So again, just getting that stretch all on the outside of the leg, glute, outside of the hamstring, maybe outside of the quad if you're tight there, and outside of the calf perhaps as well. Just breathing in nice and slowly, nice and steadily, making sure you're not clenching your jaw or forcing yourself into the stretch. We're going to come up and out. If we can, drop that leg out to the side. Again, if you're short on space like me, just dropping that knee out to the side, keeping that left hand on the left hip. And let yourself yawn if you're yawning. Letting those muscles around the face, the neck and the jaw relax. Just getting that oxygen into our body. This is your class. It's about making it relaxing, restorative, wherever you need it to be. Taking that breath in, and on that next exhale, let's just bring that leg back in. Release the leg back down to the ground. You can just bring the feet flat onto the mat, and if you want, just very gently rock the knees out and the hips out as well, side to side. And this is optional. You can always just keep the legs out straight. Then we're just going to stop on whatever side the knees are pointing out towards the screen. Taking a breath here. Let's exhale through the mouth. We're going to reach up, overhead, rolling over onto our side, and then exhale. Push yourselves back up into that seated position. Everyone, I hope you had a lovely class and you're as relaxed as I am. Hopefully that will help you towards your recovery goals, and I hope you enjoyed the class.